Hello and welcome back again. I'm just going to put these electric blue and grey Mark 1 coaches back in the station. Points are open now, and we've got the Electra pushing them back through the point work. Just have a great shot here of the pantographs under the wire. And then we're going to have a look at Hornby Dublo's EMU. We've just got it sitting there on the right. And I think this was catalogue number R.351 EM2 for the motor coach and 4150 for the driving trailer car. They really are a very beautiful set of models. When we were looking at this 1967 catalogue last week, when we were looking at the EM2 in electric blue, I flicked through the catalogue and we saw this great studio picture showing many Triang Hornby models and Hornby Dublo models. And here in the background is the EMU that we're looking at today. It's one of the Hornby Dublo models which were theoretically absorbed into the range. Some models lasted longer than others, but this picture was originally used in the Amalgamation leaflet of 1965. We'll just pop this one to one side. I think we've seen this leaflet in the past. So it was issued in May 65, announcing the amalgamation of Triang Railways and Hornby Dublo, making the company Triang Hornby eventually. So it's got some interesting things in its pages. We'll just flip through here. And here's some of the models which we've seen before in the catalogue. Here we go, we've got that great layout again. So they must have just decided to reuse this picture in 1967, although they've cropped it a little tighter along here. And you can see the two-car set of the EMU here. Electric motor coach with powered bogie. Retail price 64 shillings. Sorry, it's not sold as a two-car set, it's two separate items. And then there's the electric driving trailer coach, non-powered. And that's 10 shillings and 6. So relatively expensive items. It's a really terrific thing to see, isn't it? So I'll just have a look at the back cover there. Early battle space items without too much branding on them. They don't yet have the stickers on. Just pop that to one side. Now this is one of the only Hornby Dublo catalogues I've got, and we've seen it before. And this is must have been taken out to Italy or sent out to Italy with all the pricings in lira. And I'm not sure whether this model was actually available in Italy at the time. So I believe this is the 62 catalogue because it has 1962 scribbled on the front. And if we look at the EMU there, it doesn't have the yellow warning panel. And again, there's some scribbling with the pricing going on there, isn't there? So it goes on to explain here that whilst it's pictured as a 3-car set, it's being sold as a 2-car set with 2-rail track. And there's the motor coach available separately in either 2-rail or 3-rail there. So if you want to run it as a 3-car unit, you needed to get yourself one of these very smart Suburban coaches. Here we go, at the bottom of the page here. So Suburban coach, 2nd class. And again, a relatively expensive item. I think that would have been a super detailed coach. And there's the driving trailer available separately there. So I'm not sure what the UK pricing was on those separately at the time of launch in around 1962 from what I've read. So we'll just pop that to one side and have a swift look at the models. They're not in perfect condition, they've been around a bit. And when they came to me, they were missing the side frames on the bogies on the motor coach. And I have bought some replacements. They're moulded in a resin. They clip right in and they're a really nice fit. They do look the part. They're a tiny bit shinier than I think they might be compared to the rest of the plastic on the underframe of the model there, but beautiful tin plate. You can see all the workings through the windows there. So there's the odd scratch of the paintwork, sadly. There's that beautiful front end, that plastic moulding, and you can see that warning panel just sprayed on there. Lovely Hornby Dublo couplings there. This one suffered some damage, it's missing the descender on there. And we'll just look around there. Nice roof. It's suffered a little bit along the edges, but nothing too bad. This is a reasonably tidy model. Just have a look underneath there. We'll flip that around and we'll be able to read what's included in the plastic or moulded in the plastic. Hornby Dublo Amalgamation Limited, made in England. So we've got pickups on this side. Very nice wheels, aren't they? And we've got pickup here as well. We've just got one driving axle there. You can see the bottom of the motor, the worm on the bottom of the motor there. Lovely thing, isn't it? So we'll just pop that down. We'll have a look at the driving trailer. She is a much lighter item than the motor coach. It's probably a third of the weight. This has suffered a little damage. It's got a chip out of it there, but the paintwork's in not too bad a condition. Now, I believe this only had the pickup rail on the front end bogie on this one from what I've seen of other pictures. There's that lovely end again. So a really beautiful thing. It's had a bit of scuffing on the roof there. So it's definitely been around a bit, seen a bit of action. In and out of the toy box, I imagine. The windows are dirty on the inside here, but there doesn't seem to be any obvious way to dismantle it and clean it. So rather than cause further damage, I think I'll just leave that exactly as it is. So we've got these lovely plastic wheels here, all moulded as one item. And Hornby used that again in the early 70s, didn't they? And the coupling's just metal riveted on, which is a shame, I think, because when they're damaged it's quite difficult to put a replacement in. The bogey's mounted off centre, look. Hornby Dublo's name, Meccano Limited, made in England. Just have a quick look under here. It's in pretty good shape, I think. And there are replacements. You can buy resin replacements of these as well. They're available on eBay. But really quite beautiful things, I think. And here she comes around the layout. I think, as we've seen in the past with the Hornby Dublo models running on this Super 4 track, they do make a completely different sort of noise to trying Hornby models. Now, she does have all metal wheels on the motor coach, plus the two traction tyres, as we've seen, and plastic wheels all round on the driving trailer car, off around the layout in the opposite direction there. Really is quite a thing, isn't it? These must have looked quite terrific in the day when they were in the shops. And I also forgot to mention that I don't have any packaging with these models or paperwork, sadly. They just came to me in unboxed condition. And there we go, gently to a stop at the station again. I've just removed the securing screw from the motor coach so we can have a look at the insides of it. So we've got the top part, and then we've got the chassis plus the motor all in one here. So we'll just have a look at the top part. We can't really call it a moulding because it's got metal sides, plastic ends, plastic roof, and what seems to be a metal frame all the way around it, and a plastic insert which forms the glazing unit. So it really is quite an intricate thing. Must have taken some designing this. You can see why Hornby Dublo might have got into financial difficulties creating models as complicated as this to put together. For mass production, it's not really suitable, I don't think. So plastic end, plastic roof, metal sides, metal frame, and plastic insert. That's a lot of parts. And just keep that in mind, a lot of parts when you look at this service sheet. And this isn't the parts for we're not taking into account what we've just looked at here. This is the chassis and the motor, albeit it does serve the 2-rail and the 3-rail model, so you could take away some of these items if it's just a 2-rail model, but that's a fantastic number of parts, isn't it? Look at these complicated washers, a shouldered washer there for the trailing bogie. Really is quite a feat, isn't it? So we'll just pop that down and we'll have a swift look at the chassis and motor there. Can't get over how heavy it is. And there we have that great big lead weight there, painted yellow. And the rear bogie, or the non-powered one, it's got this great big metal frame on it here, so it has got has got quite a lot of weight on the back end as well. There's that shouldered washer we were just looking at on the service sheet. The wiring is very fine. If you look at the service sheet, it indicates that a piece of tape would have held that in place there, but that seems to be long gone. And there we have the ring-filled motor again. This casing around it, all metal, just so heavy. The brush holders here. Just look at the gauge of these nuts and screws. And just look at the thickness of the metal used to create this part of the chassis. There's a lot of materials used. So it really is a beautiful thing, and we've already seen it running. It runs so smoothly. And I think I pointed out before, it just has the one drive axle. So there's the drive gear on the axle, and there's the worm for the motor. We can just see the bottom of the coils through there. And that great big magnet running around it there. We can see the brushes either side there. And I almost forgot to point out the seating detail in the driving trailer car. Just look at that. Seats running right the way across the car. Now we're just going to move forward beyond points number 8 there, just near the gasometer. Nice gentle stop, and we'll switch those. Now that's the crossover, so we'll be able to move it from the inside to the outside line, nice and smoothly through there. And then we'll switch the points. Perhaps not the best place to stop there on the diamond crossing. Still, the pickups are on the front and the rear bogie on the motor coach, so nice smooth start in the end. Now we're just passing R59 with the maroon Suburban coaches and away up the incline. With all of that weight and those traction tyres, there's no effort here at all, which is very responsive to the controller and making very light work of everything. Across the suspension bridge there, and then we'll back off the power a little as she makes her way down the incline section. Very shiny sides, all that tin plate there. Excellent. Smoothly round the curve and back down onto level ground and underneath the gantries. Now I think that's probably it for this week. Thanks again for watching. If you look back again next time, we'll have something else from the Triumph Hornby range, I think. Goodbye now.